Things are happening. I tell you, things are happening. Oh, you never know it until you are told. That is why today I want to tell you a story about a gentleman called Emmanuel. Now, before we get into the story, if you want to know more about things happening, strange things happening, then do subscribe, smash the notification button to be notified whenever we upload a new video. If you are ready, let's get into the story. Now, Emmanuel, as a young boy, was sent to school to go and learn. Instead, he joined a bad company, a company of two other boys, and they started perpetrating petty crimes in the school. Through these petty crimes, they ended up committing a very serious crime on one of the female schoolmates called Jane. Now, Jane is a beautiful, adorable lady or girl. Everybody likes Jane, both students and teachers alike. In fact, the teachers like Jane because she was very studious, she was very hardworking, and she didn't take academic activities lightly. So they are all fond of her. On the part of the students, most of them, especially the guys, like her because of her beauty and the fact that she is smart at doing whatever she is given to do. And some of them, because they wanted her, in a very bad way, sexually, and Jane doesn't give in to them, they always tag her as too known. She is too known. And so because of that, Emmanuel and two of his friends, his group, decided to teach Jane a lesson. What kind of lesson are you going to teach her? But they decided to teach Jane a lesson on the last day that they will write their final examination, because they know that when they finish writing their examination, they are leaving the school. So they will teach her the lesson that day so that whatever happens, nobody will know they are out of the school, they cannot be caught. So they hatched a plan. And so when the day of their examination came and they wrote their final paper, but everybody was happy that they have finished writing their exam, they are leaving the school, they have completed school, they are going. So everybody was happy, including Jane. Jane never knew that anybody could have very evil plan against her. So when she was invited by Emmanuel and his friends, the two other guys, to come and take a sip of a drink, she didn't object because she thought they were all schoolmates and we have finished school and we are all happy that we have completed school successfully. So they called Jane to wherever they were, and the drink they gave Jane, there was a medicine in the drink. So Jane unknowingly took the drink and drank it. Just after she finished drinking that particular beverage, Jane passed out. She passed out. Their plan was to molest Jane sexually, to sexually assault Jane. That was their plan. So when Jane passed out, there was nobody around, nobody knew where Jane was, and so they sexually assaulted Jane in tens. It was Emmanuel who started it first. Emmanuel started it first. After he had done with the sexual assault, the other two guys also took turns and they assaulted Jane. When they were done with that evil act, they left Jane. How she got up, how she left the place, they don't care. They all left to their homes and they didn't hear anything. But 4 years later, Emmanuel was in the traffic driving and he heard someone call out his name, Emmanuel. So he turned to look and he saw Jane looking radiant and beautiful as usual. So Emmanuel invited Jane into his car and they drove to a restaurant where they started reminiscing about their school days and chatting and talking, remembering some of the things that happened when they were in school. It was there that Emmanuel proposed to Jane and told Jane how much he loved her when they were in school, except that he couldn't have the courage to tell her at that time. But now that they are out of school, he told her everything about, about the love that he has for her. And Jane graciously accepted the proposal. And so after they have drunk and whatever, the food eaten and the rest, Emmanuel suggested that they should, get, get a rest place to rest. And when they did that, it ended up that they cemented their relationship with an affair, a consensual affair. The two of them agreed. So they cemented their relationship with that. When the act was over, Jane proposed that they should have a covenant. If Emmanuel really loved her as he was saying, they should have a covenant. And what she proposed for them to do was, first they must soak their underwears. Jane brought a panty, Emmanuel brought a boxers. They put it in a bucket of water and they soak it for some time. And after they soak it, Jane said that, well, they should use the water to wash their faces. And so Emmanuel was in love to the lady of his dreams, Jane, a very beautiful, adorable lady. So he didn't object to these covenants. And so they washed their faces with the water that they have soaked their underwears in. After they've done that, they washed their faces. Jane suggested again that they should change their underwears. Jane will wear Emmanuel's boxers home, and Emmanuel should wear her, Jane's panties home, to show that they really love each other. Actually, Jane told Emmanuel that if you really, really want to show you love me, let's do this thing. So Emmanuel didn't object to that. They exchanged their underwears, and Emmanuel wore that of Jane panties, and Jane also wore Emmanuel's boxers, and they left. In fact, Emmanuel decided to go and drop Jane at the house. So they sat in the car and they left. When they were about to reach Jane's house, Jane told Emmanuel to stop and said that the road to her house wasn't so good, so she would get down and walk. But she pointed the house to Emmanuel. So Emmanuel saw the house, and when Jane was going, he saw Jane going into the house. He saw the house and he saw Jane entering into the house. So of course he has seen where Jane stays. So he sparked the car and drove off. When he got to the house, he tested Jane to tell her that he has also arrived in the house and want to find out how she was doing, of course, his newfound love. But when he did that, there was no response. He waited for some time and he called. When he called, the number was not going through. So Emmanuel got alarmed, started worrying. Right now I dropped this lady. Why is she not responding to my call and text? So he didn't do anything. But the following day, he decided to go there and find out what was happening. So he quickly sat in the car and drove to where the lady Jane showed him. When he got there, he opened the gates, entered into the house. In fact, he said when he entered, he saw a little child playing, and he noticed that the child was resembled him a little, but well, he didn't think of anything, and he asked of Jane from the person who was there, and the person looked at him quietly. And he asked him again, "Who are you looking for?" He said he was looking for Jane. And so the woman went in and called the parents of Jane, a man and a woman, and they came out. And they also asked Emmanuel, "Who do you say you are looking for?" He said he was looking for Jane. He saw Jane just yesterday, and he even came to drop her near the house. And he saw Jane entering into the house, and he said, but when he was calling him, he couldn't, the calls wasn't going through, the text message was not being replied. So he has come to find out what was wrong with her, because they just yesterday, then the people looked at him quietly and said, "You met Jane yesterday?" They said yes. They went back into the house, into the room. And this time when they came out with obituaries and brochures with the picture of Jane behind them. Emmanuel was shocked. And they told Emmanuel that Jane had died 3 months ago. Emmanuel was shocked. And he said, I met Jane just yesterday. He couldn't tell them that they even had an affair, but he met Jane just yesterday. How come not knowing Jane had been dead for 4 months? 4 months. And Emmanuel doesn't know. Jane had been dead for 4 months. So when he saw the pictures, the brochures, he was shocked. And he left. In fact, the parents told him that Jane got pregnant, he got sick. He got pregnant because they told him something, that Jane got pregnant. They don't know who the father was, and he has a child. And they even showed the child to him. And so we saw the child, and he left. He left worried and disturbed, because in this case, he had an affair with a ghost, unknowingly. In fact, when he got home, since that time, every night when he sleeps, Jane will come into his dream. When Jane comes into his dream, she will have an affair with him. Anytime Jane appears in his dream, he will have an affair with him, because of the covenant that they made. So, in any case, he has married Jane spiritually. So Jane comes to. One day when Jane came to his dream, he told him, the child that you see in the house when you went there is your child. Go and take the child and take care of him. That is your child. Jane came and told him that not once. Anytime he comes into his dream, he said, the child you saw when you went to the house is your child. Go and take him and take care of him. The reason was, it was Emmanuel 4 years ago. He was the first person to assault Jane when they dragged her. So the child was his. It turned out that the 2 other boys that joined Emmanuel in assaulting Jane, they were all dead. One had a mysterious accident, and the other one got mad and died. But because Emmanuel is the father of the child, Jane didn't kill, or we don't know. He didn't die, but Jane revealed herself to him. Now, how to go and tell the family, the parents of Jane, that he is the father of the child is the problem. Because he cannot go and tell them that they raped her. To be sure whether Jane really had died, Emmanuel drove. He found a day and he drove to the area and he started inquiring and asking. In fact, at a point, he saw the obituary on a kiosk, which shows that Jane really had died. And then he asked a seller around whether she knew Jane. He said, oh yes. The seller confirmed that yes, he knew Jane, and Jane fell sick in a short while and she died. And as for the child, they don't know the father of the child, and they know Jane very well. So it was Jane who spiritually came in the physical to Emmanuel, just to let him know that he has a child somewhere. You should go and take the child and take care of the child. Now, Emmanuel's problem is that he doesn't know how he will go there and tell the parents that he is the father of the child. That is his problem now. And secondly, Jane continued to come to him in his dream because he covenanted with her physically. In fact, when these things started and he realized that Jane wasn't a real human being but a ghost, he decided to look for the panty that he gave him to wear. When he got home that day, he put the panty, he removed the panty. He doesn't want anybody to know that he's wearing a lady's panty, so he removed it, put it in a rubber and hid it somewhere. When he went to the place to look for the panty, guess what? The panty is gone. It's missing. Jane has come for her thing. So Jane has come for her panties, and his boxer shorts is still with Jane. He has a covenant with her now. And so The only way out will be some powerful deliverance. He is in a dilemma. He must go for the child. He doesn't know what to do. He cannot sleep. Because anytime he closes his eyes, Jane is there. Go for the child. Sometimes, not sometimes, we must be very careful with what we do now. Everything we do will pay a price for it, whether good or bad. If you think you are doing something evil to someone, be careful, because you will definitely pay a price for it. This is the price that Emmanuel is paying for what he did to Jane years back. He is now paying the price. As for the other two friends, they weren't lucky, so they are dead. They are dead. And I think it was a revenge on them. But we must all be very careful. You might be doing something now, you think you are having fun, you are playing with it. There are repercussions. Everything you sow, every seed you sow, you will receive the fruit of it, whether good or bad. The lesson here is that we must be very careful and be conscious of what we do. Sow good seeds instead of bad seed. You may do something now, you think you are playing with it. It will turn out to be something, the result will be evil. And you will pay for it in the near future. If you like this video, if you subscribe, and let me hear from you from the comment section. What do you think Emmanuel should do? I want to see you in the next video. See you and bye.